Hey guys, this is part 2 on a two-part tutorial of how to make your own Darth Revan mask out of clay. What I'm going to be going over now is the painting, the coating with the Mod Podge, and the final touches with it. So once you have the grooves cut out and the glue finished drying for your mask, that comes the fun part, painting it. I started with the red color, and the red and gray, you can pick whatever colors that you want. Any colors that best seem to match the picture that you're using as a reference, or just the colors that you want to use. You might not even want to use the same colors. I just used a ruby red kind of color, and the gray I made myself, just experimenting with different pigmentations of white and black. And when I got the color that I wanted, I just started using it. So all you want to do is take the parts, the sections that you separated with the grooves, and just paint it all around. Make sure that you get all the spots where the clay will be showing. And if you get any paint on the other sections, that's all right. You're going to be painting it over anyway. But every time that you put a layer of paint on your mask, make sure that you wait a little bit for it to dry before you put on the next coat. I would say about 15 minutes. But if it takes longer, then just wait a while. So once you have your layers down, when you have your paint, you want to make sure that you have the edges of the mask painted as well, because even though people are going to be seeing the front, the edges could stick out a little bit, and it's not a really good thing if you have some parts that are unfinished and it won't really look good in the final product. Also, the grooves. I know that the paint might not have gotten in it with the major brushes. So what you want to do is you want to take a thin brush and choose the color that you want to use on the side of the color that's already there. So you just want to use the color that is going to be best matching the surrounding area. You just want to color it in so that you can't see the clay, the original clay color. It doesn't really matter if there's a specific color that you use. Just make sure that you get inside it and it doesn't paint over anything that already has a different color. If it does, you can just wash your brush and then just repaint it with the color that you need to. Just make sure that you end up filling up all the grooves and the clay isn't really showing. Once you have your painting done, you can just check it around, make sure that it dries in a fair amount of time, and the paint will end up changing into a little brighter color than what you started with, but you won't have to worry about that, because once you put that Mod Podge layer, the stuff is just going to be like getting darker, and it'll look a lot more like the thing from the video game. So once you're done with the painting, we get to work on the Mod Podge. Mod Podge is basically a water-based sealer, glue, and finish. You can get these at Joann Fabrics or any kind of supply store that sells this kind of stuff. It's like arts and crafts. But you want to use the gloss kind, the glossy finish that makes it look shiny when it's covered over it. They have different kinds. I just use the gloss because Darth Revan's mask, it was metal material, and metal is shiny, so I wanted to give this a shiny look. And the paint and the clay, it doesn't turn out to look like metal just by itself, so giving it a little bit of extra shiny finish helps out a lot in the end, in the long run. So what you want to do is you want to take your Mod Podge. You don't really have to get an extra bowl or anything. You could just open it up and take a clean paintbrush and start dipping it into the Mod Podge jar and just covering it all around the entire mask. I would be very careful because the Mod Podge is like a little bit gooey, and just make sure that when you are painting it over, it will be taking up a little bit of the paint underneath it. Might be taking off a little bit of the red or the gray. You just want to make sure that that paint is really dried up That's what happened with me when I was starting to put the Mod Podge layer on it. I didn't fully wait until the paint was completely dried up. As a result, the Mod Podge, the liquid, it was just starting to stir the paint, and it was starting to get on my brush. So I had to be very careful putting this Mod Podge on it, because Mod Podge is white. But like when it starts off with. But once it dries, it's basically transparent. But I really wanted to avoid the extra colors in there as much as possible. So if that happens, you can just wash your brush. Make sure you have some paper towels with you. Some wet paper towels too, if you'd like it. And make sure that you cover the entire mask with it. You can be generous with the amount that you use. You want to make sure that you have everything. The more Mod Podge that you have, the better, because it'll keep it itself in shape and keep it from. It'll make it a lot harder to break. Once the front layer, it does take a while to dry. So once it's done, you'll have a nice glossy, shiny finish for the front. Once that's done, I would prefer putting 3 layers of Mod Podge on the mask on the front to keep that nice shiny finish, and just to keep that paint from scratching off. You also want to make sure that you do the inside too. You want to paint the inside with Mod Podge, because even though the outside is what people are going to be seeing, the inside needs a layer of glue, because the Mod Podge is also a glue sealant. And you want that glue to be keeping together your mask as strong as it can. So just paint the inside, make sure that you get the edges, make sure that if there are like any cracks that you still find even after going over it previously, make sure you just cover it. You can put more than 1 layer in the inside, but 1 is enough to just keep it together. But it never hurts to. It's better to be safe than sorry. But I did just 1 layer because my mask was just holding up so well together, especially in the front part with the 3 layers, that I didn't really think that extra layers were needed. So once you have your 2 sides of the mask done and the paint, now you have to work on the inside. I used 2 Velcro straps to wrap around my head. Those you can get at a supply shop. Maybe Home Depot has Velcro straps that you can get, or tool store. They could be any kinds that you want. I just used whatever I had around. And just make sure that you have the 2 different sides. There's like a hard side and a soft side. You want to make sure that you have both of those. So make sure that you put those on the sides of your mask. I guess right to the next to those eye slots, and try to get as much of the sticky side on the clay, on the Mod Podge, between the eye slot and the end of the mask, because it is strong, but you want to get as most of it as you can, because the clay is a little bit heavy, and when you put it on your mask, you will feel the weight. So you want to have those Velcro straps grabbing a lot of the mask while it's strapped around your face. Once you have the Velcro straps onto the sides, the front part, the inside with those foam cushions, that I just found in our just materials box. You can get these foam. You can get like a foam sheet at Joanne Fabrics or a supply shop, and it doesn't matter what kind of foam that you use, just as long as it keeps you safe from pressing your nose against the mask. It really doesn't matter what kind that you get, just as long as it does its job. So I cut it into this kind of shape, sort of like a triangle for the nose, and I added an extra, like another layer on top of it. I was just using Elmer's glue to keep all this down, by the way. You don't really have to go very fancy on this. Elmer's glue does the job. So I put those pieces on to the first layer. I put it on top, and then I use scissors to snip off the edges to make it smoother, so when it goes onto my face it doesn't hurt, and it just fits in all the more easier. And then when you have that, you have the top part that with a forehead that'll be resting on your head. You have 2 strips. One of them that'll be just going around the forehead. It's just a nice rectangular piece that it could be, I don't know, about 7 or 8 inches, depending on how big your mask is. And you can just use Elmer's glue again to just glue the underside of the foam. The Mod Podge, the glue is, it's not really going to be as slippery as you might expect on the Mod Podge, but I would just glue it on the foam first so that it has it on there. And the foam is, it sort of acts like a sponge, so you do want to use just a little bit more when you're going over the surfaces when you put that foam down. And then once you do, you want to wait a bit and you want to find something to help you press it down. If you can't find anything, you can just use your fingers. I was just using my wallet because it seemed to have the weight that I was looking for. Just looking around for some stuff, so it was convenient for me. And then make sure that the top part above the forehead, where you have that arch thing, you can place that piece in there and then cut it around to fit it how you want. I cut it with, like, instead of a rectangular shape, it was sort of like a trapezoid, so it would fit in nicely and it would curve inside while lining up with the first forehead piece. So when you have those two parts in there and glued and drying, you can attach the final nose piece to the nose area. Use your wallet or whatever that you found to put the weight on it, and just keep it pressed down. You can leave it for I don't know, a couple hours, and make sure that the glue dries. It will take a while because it's drying on a layer of glue, and that's gonna, I'm not sure really how long that takes. Just wait a while until it feels like it's in there. So then once you have all those pieces glued together and your Velcro straps, you have your Revan mask. Now you can just, if there are any other kind of finishes that you want to do, or if you just need to clean it, you can add extra layers of Mod Podge, and you can paint over it. If you want to do like some kind of airbrushing techniques or like scratches, you can, to give it like a weathered look. But right now, what I finished with was just the main colors. It does have a certain older look to it as I was working on it, resting on some areas, but the metal texture is what I was really looking for, and that Mod Podge really helped it with it, especially with the gloss. So that's my tutorial on how to make a Darth Revan mask. I hope you guys liked it, and maybe you might want to be making your own. So subscribe to my channel, and just thanks guys, and I'll see you soon, probably with the next tutorial.